Nelson County, they've had success in other sports, and they got asked about that. Can they get it on the gridiron? Not that they haven't had success there, but can they have more? Nelson County addressed the media at Dogwood District Media Day.
Coach, welcome. Could you introduce yourself and the players you have?
Sure. Hey, Coach Ben Butler. This is Dylan Butler, Eli Durant, and River Wood, all seniors for us.
Coach, first let's just talk a little bit about the makeup of this team. How many returning players you have on each side of the ball, and what the identity of this year's team is.
This is a neat team. It's got a good bunch of seniors that are returning, and most of them have got a lot of snaps under their belt. We're a little lacking in kind of the 11th and 10th grade classes there, but we got a freshman group coming on that's real similar to these guys. A lot of talent that's real young. Not sure where those middle years went to, but we kind of bookended pretty well on the top end and the bottom. Team's a good team. It's a team that's been together for a while. They've learned to work together. They enjoy being around each other, which is kind of a key to the culture that's kind of happened around us. Guys that enjoy being with each other, working hard, pushing each other. They got high expectations for each other, so it should be a real fun season.
Coming into this year, what were some of those areas that you had circled? Like, hey, these are areas we've got to improve in immediately if we're going to be successful in our goals this year.
It's being consistent, and executing. It's the same things that are football things at every school. Biggest challenge in being a small school is the same challenge that everybody in our district has. Is can all your guys stay healthy? How long can you keep a group together that goes out and competes well? And because your depth falls off pretty quickly after your top guys, when you really only field a team of somewhere in the mid-20s most of the time. It's important as a coaching staff to keep developing our younger guys. That was what has gone well for us over the past couple of years. Is developing the younger guys, and this group is a product of that.
You guys have been able to sustain some of that success going to the playoffs a couple of years in a row now. I guess players, what have you taken away from maybe getting a taste of that, and how do you feel like you can take the next step into maybe competing in, maybe you mentioned top 3, top 2 of a Dogwood that feels pretty competitive this year?
Which one else wants to take it?
I think it's just set us up for knowing how the playoffs are, knowing the change of speed from the regular season into the playoffs. It's not huge, but there is something there. I think that making the playoffs consistently for the past 2 years has prepared us to go into this season with hopes of making a home playoff game, getting top 4 in the district. It's just really prepared us for that.
I feel like that more experience in the playoffs will definitely push our season further than these past years. Obviously, the goal is to win the Dogwood and maybe a state championship if that opportunity comes our way. I feel like just experience under our belt, stacking days and stuff.
Yeah, just to touch on what River said, getting that experience in the playoffs, getting that adapting to that change of speed, I feel like we're all more accustomed now to that change, and I think we're ready to go grab us one. Change the program, change the culture, and like what Eli said, hopefully push towards a state championship.
What's it like kind of being the senior leaders now, since you guys have gone through this thing, and the fact that you also get to be an extension of coach? You guys get to be the disciplinarian sometimes out there. You get to tell people what to do. What's that been like so far?
I feel like that it's a great opportunity, because back when I was younger, looking up at the older kids and looking up to them, it's a great opportunity to do the same thing for the younger guys now and make sure being a role model to push them in the right direction to be successful.
Yeah, it's a little weird because I don't feel all that different. Like I feel like I'm still the same person that I was as a freshman, but now instead of looking up at those guys, I am that guy. And I'd say the only thing that's changed about me is I've gained more responsibilities, and I've become a stronger, more prominent figure, I guess, in the program. And it's fun being in this position where I can like push the guy next to me and the younger guy, and I have that authority now, and it's
definitely a huge responsibility, being the one that people look up to. I remember, like as these two have said, being that guy that was looking up to the seniors and looking up to the upperclassmen, and now being one of the upperclassmen, it's definitely a step up, but it's an exciting step up. It's good to know that you're being part of something bigger than yourself, bigger than just the guy next to you, knowing that there's no I in team, and that everything that happens on the field in some way or another relates to you, and being able to control that is a huge responsibility, but it's a good one.
Coach, Big Bryce played some quarterback for you last year. Do you have him back this year? Are you expecting him to play quarterback? What are you looking at as far as some of your key positions on offense?
Yeah, Bryce is back. He's actually at a camp today. He would have been here, but he's packed a summer full of camps. He's a neat kid. I mean, what an athlete. He's picked up a lot of attention for just football looking at him because of what he can do for a guy that size. With that, Bryce is looking to earn his stripes on the line a little bit more. I mean, that's kind of where he's getting attention at the next level, and it's where we were kind of we graduated our entire offensive line last season except for one kid, so we needed some senior leadership there. Bryce is a tremendous leader. Xavier Jack Hughes is another big time kid for us, and he's our only returning offensive lineman. So Bryce is in there. He looks to really make a name for himself playing defense, though. He's either going to be a nose or a defensive end for us, and looking to take that size and speed and really cause the other guys some problems.
Nelson County is not a close home game, or not a close road trip for anybody else. How important do you need to make home games in the district for that reason?
All games are important, and we've been on the road for a long time. We know we don't play anybody close. Alta Vista is about as close as it gets for us. We last year took a trip all the way to Patrick County. That was a 3+ hour bus ride. Home games are important, but every game's important. We prepare the same way for going on the road that we do for at home. It's just there's a little time to kill in the afternoon at a home game. Bus ride takes care of that when we go away. But no, every game's important for us. We got a group that's bought in, and a group that has worked hard to change the culture at the school. They're not overlooking anybody.
How does playing in such a competitive district push you guys to eventually reach your expectations of what you have set for the season?
Well, that's the best part about this district. It's a great football district, and as you get better and better in the district, when you get to the playoffs, you've got a chance to make a run. We watched, teams out of this district, teams like Apo and Alta Vista last year. I mean, they're good teams, and no matter where you wind up in the playoffs, you've got a chance to compete. We would like to, go into the playoffs a little bit higher seed. It would be something really, really neat for the community, for our school to host a playoff game, and that's kind of, it's not the goal, but it is something that we kind of roll around and just would be a nice thing. But at the same time, we want to go somewhere. We want to win a playoff game. That's kind of what's on everybody's mind at the moment.
Eli, you were on the basketball team last year, and
Sure.
obviously the girls soccer team had a lot of success. What is it about the other programs, and even the one you were on the basketball team, what is it about the school having a lot of athletic success? Does that kind of bleed into the football program and make you guys want to take that postseason step, with them, as you mentioned, getting a home game, having the opportunity to play in front of your home fans? What does all this school success do for the football team feel?
I think it definitely has an effect. I know with basketball, we were competing for a chance at the state championship, which also, that obviously brings more eyes to Nelson County, which can help get more attention for the football team. And I think it also drives us to want to be one of those higher athletic groups, with competing with basketball and soccer and stuff. So
You just heard from Nelson County. The Governors are hungry, and they're hungry to put more wins on the board this year than they did last year, and they had a good season. We'll see how the Governors season progresses as we hope to catch up with them throughout the season right here on the Sports Buffet podcast. I'm Bob Alvis.